Hi, everybody. Captain Lou here for the 12-ounce sports update on this Monday, November the 25th, 2024. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I know everybody around here is getting set for that big turkey day, including the showdown in the NFC North between the Lions and the Chicago Bears. And, of course, turkey and the turkey game of the night. That's going to be Dallas and the New York Giants. But I digress. I hope everybody had a great sports weekend this past weekend. A lot of great games, a lot of wild games in both the NFL and college football. We'll talk about those. We'll give you a quick whip around on the scores of what happened this past weekend in the top 25 of college football and, of course, the NFL. Get you set for the Harbaugh Bowl tonight between the Chargers and the Baltimore Ravens. We'll take a look at the rankings and new number one in women's college basketball as well. So we got a lot to talk about here on the 12-ounce sports update. Again, hoping everybody having a great Monday night. All right, let's take a look at some of the scores yesterday in the NFL. Let's start with the best team in the hall of the NFL, the Detroit Lions. Struggled a little bit on offense against the Indianapolis Colts, but on the road nonetheless. A big win for them, 24-6, as they improved to 10. Needed that win to keep pace to stay ahead of the Minnesota Vikings, the Green Bay Packers, and the Philadelphia Eagles for the top spot in the NFC. Not a whole lot of offense in this one. Jared Goff did throw for 269 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs had 21 carries, 90 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Detroit got a little banged up. Could potentially lose David Montgomery for the game on Thursday with a shoulder injury. He's going to be day-to-day. We'll see about that. But a big win nonetheless for the Lions. They go to 10-1, as I mentioned. The Colts, with the loss, they fall to 5-7. Sticking in the NFC North, it was a wild game in Chicago. Minnesota looked like they had the game in hand, up big, and then Chicago with a monumental comeback. They even recovered an onside kick, were able to get it down to kick the field goal to tie it up at 27-20 going into overtime. The Bears won the toss, got the ball first, but Caleb Williams, well, he tried to be too much like the superstar and the showboat that he is. Ended up costing the Bears because they had to punt it away. Their defense couldn't hold the Vikings. They win 30-27 in Chicago. So Minnesota keeps pace, one game behind the Lions at 9-2. And the Packers, they took over and just blew away a decimated San Francisco 49er team, 38-10. Big win for them. The Packers are 8-3, firmly entrenched in a wild card spot. They would get the second wild card right now. They're only 2 games behind the Lions, but the Lions, remember, have the tiebreakers. They went up to Lambeau and beat the Packers earlier this year. Elsewhere, how about the Redskins and the Cowboys? This storied rivalry, which there was nothing better in the 70s and the early 80s. It was must-watch TV with George Allen and Tom Landry in the late 70s and into the 80s. Both those teams so good. Yesterday, so bad. What a weird finish to this one, too. The Cowboys did everything in their power to give this one back to the Washington Commanders. The Commanders had an opportunity. In the end, when they got the ball back late, they got an 87-yard touchdown pass to McLaurin after the Dallas Cowboys defense fell asleep. And, of course, the extra point. That's all they had to do was kick the extra point, and they chunked it, and they missed it. The Commanders have now lost 3 straight. They're now at 7-5. The Cowboys, with East Lansing and Lansing Catholic's own Cooper Rush, they get the win to go to 4-7. Although they can't clinch the number 1 seed, I saw some crazy formula where if the Lions lost every game and a bunch of teams lost a bunch of games, the Cowboys could still get the number 1 seed in the NFL, but they're 4-7, and they get a big win to stave off elimination, except for possibly one more week. Some of the other games last night, how about the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday Night Football against the Los Angeles Rams? It was all Saquon Barkley, 28 carries, 255 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. They go to 9-2 with the win, 37-20 over the LA Rams. They're 5-6, but hey, they're still only 1 game out of the lead in the NFC West, thanks to the Seahawks. They win at home over the Arizona Cardinals, 16-6. They get a pick 6. Ugly game there as well. Kyler Murray was 24 out of 37 for 285 and a pick, but that pick was a pick 6. So again, the Seahawks now, they're in front, in the NFC West with a 6-5 record, tied with the Arizona Cardinals. The Seahawks get the tiebreak right now. Other games, the Broncos, they go to 7-5, looking good in the wild card race, 29-19 over the Raiders. The Raiders fall to 2-9 with that loss. The Texans and the Titans. This one was another crazy finish. Back and forth they went. Tennessee was game the whole time, but the Texans had a chance to tie it, to send it into overtime late, and Fairbairn missed a chip shot field goal that kept it at 30-27. Tennessee couldn't move the ball. They punted it, pinned the Texans back deep, but it was C.J. Stroud pulling a Dan Orlovsky and running out of the end zone for the safety. 32-27, the final score there. With the loss, the Texans still in first place, but they now fall to 7-5. The Titans are at 3-8. Chiefs and the Panthers. This was a weird game too. The Panthers did all they could to stay with the Kansas City Chiefs, even tying it up late at 27. But unfortunately for them, they gave Patrick Mahomes just enough time to engineer a drive down the field. They get a late field goal, 30-27. The Chiefs are now 10-1, first place in the AFC West, the top team in the AFC. And finally, how about the Buccaneers and the Giants? The Giants are in fold up the tent mode. They quit the second quarter. This one was 23-0 at halftime, 30-0 after the end of 3. Don't take anything away from the Buccaneers. Watch out for Tampa Bay. They've got such an easy schedule down the road, playing backup quarterbacks and quarterbacks aren't exactly setting the world on fire. The Buccaneers are at 5-6. They could be poised to go on a roll and potentially win that division, which is very winnable in the NFC South with the Atlanta Falcons, although the Falcons do hold the tiebreak with the season series sweep. And finally, the Dolphins over the Patriots, 34-15 last night. The Dolphins go to 5-6. The Patriots, I don't know what the heck's going on there. They're at 3-9. So there you go, as the Dolphins win, and they keep their slight hopes alive for a potential playoff run. All right, quickly in the standings in the AFC, the Buffalo Bills 9-2, Pittsburgh at 8-3. They're the leaders in the East and the North. In the AFC South, it's the Houston Texans with a 2-game lead plus the tiebreak over the Colts at 7-5. The Kansas City Chiefs are at 10-1. The Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC, they lead the East now by 2.5 over the Washington Commanders. The Lions at 10-1. The Minnesota Vikings at 9-2. And the Green Bay Packers at 8-3. First time since 1999 that we've had 3 teams in the same division at week 12 with 8 wins or more. In the NFC South, the Atlanta Falcons are at 6-5, Tampa Bay at 5-6, and the Saints at 4-7. And we mentioned the Seattle Seahawks at 6-5. They're tied with the Arizona Cardinals right now for the top spot in the NFC West. The Rams and the 49ers still looking to stay pace. They're at 5-6. Tonight's game, by the way, in the Harbaugh Bowl coming up, it's going to be the Ravens going out west to L.A. to take on the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh against John Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is going to come in with a record of 8-3. John Harbaugh comes in with a record of 7-4. It's a home game for the Chargers. They're still a 2.5-point dog. The over-under on this one is at 50.5. All right, we're going to take a break. We come back. We'll take a look at the college side of things and more right here on the 12-Ounce Sports Update on 12-Ounce Sports and our 12-Ounce Sports channel on YouTube.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12-Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12-Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Can't say it enough with these big weekend games we got coming up, and the Thanksgiving Day games as well, as we've got the Lions and the Bears. the the Miami Dolphins, and the Green Bay Packers, and more, go to 12ouncesports.com/tickets, and you can get the best results, or you get the best ticket prices anywhere. That's tickets.12ouncesports.com. All right, let's go take a look at college football scores from this past weekend. And it all started Oklahoma with the first big upset of the weekend, 24-3 over number 7 ranked Alabama. Alabama with the loss. They're now at 8-3. Should be on the outside looking in for the college football playoff. We'll have to wait and see about that. With 3 losses, not too sure that they're going to be in. They're going to get lobbied to be there at the end, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. Ole Miss losing to Florida 24-17, the 9th rated Rebels. They're more than likely out of the college football playoff, at least for right now. Arizona State with a big win. They're on a roll. They were picked to be last in the Big 12 this year, 28-23. They're in the catbird seat right now at 9-2. They're on the inside track to go to the Big 12 championship game and potentially get one of those automatic berths to the college football playoffs, as they pretty much have stunned BYU and taken them out of the college football playoff picture as well. Kansas with a big win over Deion and Shedeur and the Colorado Buffaloes, 37-21. That pretty much knocks out Colorado. They're going to need a lot of help just to get to the championship game of the Big 12. They'll still get a decent bowl game because they're a big name, but the college football playoff might be just a little bit too much to ask. Iowa State, they're in the hunt for the Big 12, Sue, with a win, 31-28. Ohio State took care of Indiana. Number 2, Ohio State over number 5, Indiana, by the score of 38-15. So Ohio State entrenches themselves as one of the top teams in all the land. It's going to be interesting to see. Should they beat Michigan, which shouldn't be a problem, they'll be in the Big Ten championship game to get another crack at the Oregon Ducks with a chance for an automatic berth and a first-round bye in the college football playoff. So some big games. And Notre Dame took care of Army 49-14. Notre Dame's got USC this weekend. A win for them, they're definitely in. And a loss, they might need a little bit of help. All right, quickly in college basketball, we've got a new number 1 on the women's side of college basketball. As UCLA stunned number 1 South Carolina by the score of 77-62. So the Bruins now, they jump from number 5 to number 1. Number 2 of this week is going to be UConn. Number 3 is Notre Dame. Number 4 is South Carolina, falling from number 1 with that loss. Texas is 5, USC 6, LSU 7, Oklahoma 8, Kansas State 9th, and Maryland 10th. On the men's side in the college basketball world, really no change in the top 5. Kansas number 1, UConn 2, Gonzaga 3, Auburn 4, Iowa State 5. Then you've got Houston, Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, and Marquette rounding out the top 10. And in the college football scene, in the rankings ahead of the college football playoff rankings show tomorrow, let's give you a look at the college football rankings real quick, if I can bring those up. And I can. Oregon, still the unanimous number 1 team, followed by Ohio State. Texas, Penn State at 4, Notre Dame at 5, Georgia at 6, Tennessee at 7, Miami at 8, SMU at 9, Indiana falls to 10, Boise at 11, and Clemson at 12, with Alabama somehow still ranked 13th, Arizona State 14th, Ole Miss and South Carolina 15 and 16. All right, that's going to do it here for our 12-ounce sports update. Special reminder for some programming. We've got some extra special shows coming up on the ACHA Power Play tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. We're going to take a look back at the life and the great career of Calvin University head coach Mike Petrusma, who passed away unexpectedly on Friday night, an ACHA legend, a Calvin University coach for over 28 years, one of the mainstays in ACHA hockey for the last 3 decades. We're going to have a great lineup of guests for that coming up tomorrow night live at 7 o'clock. And Wednesday on the Captain Lou Extravaganza, longtime guest, basketball coach, savant, Steve Finnemore passed away a couple of weeks ago. So we're going to take a look back on our latest interview we did with him, talking about the 2004 Detroit Pistons, a great look back at that. So 2 special shows this week. I invite you to check those out. Tuesday night and Wednesday night, each at 7 o'clock Eastern time on 12-ounce sports and on our YouTube channel, 12-ounce sports as well. All right, that's going to do it, everybody. Thanks for taking time out to be with us, welcoming us into your homes right here on 12 Ounce Sports and our YouTube channel, which is 12 Ounce Sports. Captain Lou saying, keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. Until next time, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. So long, and thanks for joining us here on 12 Ounce Sports. So long.